I would like to call this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order. It is August 12th, 2025. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson. Here. Vogelzang.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, the city administrator, and several other staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Goodrich,
Second.
seconded by Vogelzang. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Next up, we have community comments. And so this is a time for community members to speak to us about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are on the agenda but are not subject to a public hearing. So I think we have a lot of folks that would like to speak with us this evening. So what I will do is just have folks come up to the microphone. Please try to keep it to about 2 or 3 minutes if possible. I'm not going to be timing, but just we'll do the honor system. Just try to keep it to that. So would you like to come up to the mic? Just sign in, tell us who you are, and tell us what is on your mind.
Good evening, City Council members.
Yeah.
My name is Kelsey Feldman, and I live at 3253 Kelsey Lane. My neighbors and I live in a beautifully diverse, quiet neighborhood on a dead-end road in North Coralville. On any given day, you'll find many young children, several of whom have special needs, riding their bikes and playing together outside safely in the neighborhood. As a lifelong resident of Coralville, I participated in safety patrol and conflict managers at Coralville Central Elementary, spent much of my teenage years volunteering at the Coralville Public Library, devoted many years to teaching math at Northwest Junior High, and have served for 4 years as a district leader at ICCSD. The values of the Coralville community are deeply woven into who I am as a person. But I stand before you tonight because the recent actions taken by the city do not reflect the values of Coralville that I know and love. I am concerned about the Forever Green Road Extension project, most specifically the recent plans to connect to Kelsey Lane. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Forever Green Road Extension project, as it has been in development for over a decade. As someone whose home is directly adjacent to the property, I've made it a point to follow the plans closely over the years. So when I read in the Press Citizen that phase 1 of the project will begin this spring, I was shocked. Reading then that the council had deemed it necessary and desirable to connect Forever Green Road to Kelsey Lane came as a shock. This had never been part of the plans that had been issued publicly for over 10 years. I do stand before you tonight and ask, for whom is this extension necessary and who is this benefiting in our community? This has never been part of the plan. After again going back and combing through the plans, hundreds of pages of publicly available documents on this project, I still fail to see any mention as to how this had been in the existing plans. In fact, the last time this idea was publicly mentioned was back in October 2012 during a public open house. At that time, after an extensive professional study by Shai Hattery, they specifically recommended not connecting Kelsey Lane to Forever Green Road due to concerns with cut-through traffic in our neighborhood. Since then, no public update has been provided regarding Kelsey Lane, let alone any public hearing or notification. I am very curious as to whom this is necessary for and why is this desirable for our greater community. It appears to me that this change was made behind closed doors, and I can only believe that many of you sitting in front of me may not have been aware of this abrupt change in plans. I don't feel that many of you would have voted for that had you known exactly how the plans had been changed. I am a reasonable person, and I understand that sometimes the greater needs of a community do outweigh the risks to specific individuals. However, I have requested clarification multiple times from the city as to why this change has been made. As of today, I have received no relevant justification as to why this is needed for the city of Coralville. I can only assume now that this is because there's not really a great need. Otherwise, the reason would have been provided by now. The limited response I did get, unfortunately, felt as if they brushed off my concerns, told me that this had always been the plan, and simply implied that I hadn't been paying attention. This is simply not the truth. Let me be clear. The extension of Kelsey Lane is going to put a number of very vulnerable children at risk. Turning our quiet residential neighborhood into a shortcut for an arterial road destroys the fundamental character of our small neighborhood. I just want to know why this needs to happen. The city of Coralville that I know and love would never quietly approve a plan behind closed doors without even notifying its residents affected. The city of Coralville that I know and love wouldn't dismiss legitimate safety concerns or apparently gaslight its citizens saying it was always the plan. It wouldn't make abrupt, impactful decisions behind closed doors without providing clear rationale or data. But that's exactly what happened. I respectfully ask that the city pause this project until proper public discussion can take place. Data can be provided to justify such a need, and alternative solutions are considered with resident input. The Coralville that I know and love can and must be right by its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who else would like to address the council? Oh. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to us this evening? Oh. Oh. Sorry, I didn't finish filling this out. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Kempenar. I live at 3235 Kelsey Lane. When my family moved to Coralville about 2 years ago, finding a safe and quiet neighborhood for our family was a priority. We knew right away that Kelsey Lane was a perfect fit for us due to the high volume of kids and the low volume of traffic. This was especially important for our then 3-year-old daughter because she is legally blind. My children play outside every day, riding their bikes and scooters on the sidewalks and streets and meeting up with their many friends in the neighborhood. They enjoy walking to the centralized mailbox stand with me, and we walk to school when the weather permits. But my opposition to the extension of Kelsey Lane goes beyond my personal concerns for my family. I have 3 major issues with the extension: a safety concern, an environmental concern, and a cost concern. First, the extension would lead to a lot of cut-through traffic in our neighborhood, increasing risks to our children, pets, and property. Second, the extension would require the destruction of the ever-dwindling natural landscape in the area. And finally, the extension would add a significant cost to this road project. All of these reasons against the extension, and for what gain? So drivers would have a minor convenience of avoiding the roundabout. This extension would join Forever Green Road only a few hundred yards from the roundabout. It would literally be within shouting distance. It's hard to imagine a road being more redundant. I don't see how any calculation of the questionable benefit outweigh the significant detriments. There is a reason the original plan by the civil engineers recommended against this extension, and I agree with them completely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Katie Freeman. I know it's on the agenda, the options tax, and so I just wanted to present a few things that I would like to see that be utilized for. So one of them, with the new rec center, I would like to see single-use restrooms be the only restroom available, if possible, and that is for a broad range of citizens within the community that have barriers of access to safe places to use the restroom and to change. And then the other being, I would like to see funding going towards helping provide food, healthcare, and housing for those who are not having those needs met currently within the community. So that's all I wanted to add. I guess one final thing. I do plan to run for city council. So we shall see if I become your colleague.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Tower, and I'm here tonight as a resident of 3241 Kelsey Lane and as a parent fighting to protect something increasingly rare in our modern world, and that's a place where children can still be children. When I look out my window on any given evening, as Kelsey mentioned, I see something magical that's vanishing from our communities. I see children playing in the street. They're riding bikes. There are parents playing catch with their kids. There's chalk art covering the pavement, impromptu games of basketball. And this is what childhood used to look like everywhere. But today, Kelsey Lane is one of the last places in our community where parents can still let their children experience that freedom safely. Our dead-end street has created something precious, an outdoor playground where generations of kids have learned to ride bikes, where teenagers have had their first driving lesson, where neighbors have become family. But tonight, I'm not just speaking for the neurotypical children who call our street home. I'm speaking for my own child who is autistic and faces daily challenges that many families never have to consider. My child doesn't understand danger the way that others do. He's impulsive. He's drawn to movement and sounds in ways that can often be unpredictable. And lately, he's been finding new ways to suddenly leave our home and head to the front of our property, and that terrifies me. For families like mine, the current safety of our dead-end street is life-saving. When my child bolts toward the street, as can happen without warning, I know that the biggest danger they'll encounter is a neighbor backing slowly out of their driveway, but that's someone who knows our family and who understands to watch out for children. But if you connect us to Forever Green Road, that safety net disappears. Instead of occasional neighbors, my child could encounter strangers cutting through at 35 miles per hour, focused on avoiding school traffic, checking their phones, running late for work. These drivers won't know that the kid who just ran into the street isn't being defiant. They literally can't process the danger in time to stop themselves. I know some might think just tell kids to stay out of the street, but that fundamentally misunderstands both childhood development and disabilities like autism. You can't simply command a generation of children to abandon their outdoor freedom they've known their entire lives. You can't expect a child with autism to consistently override their neurological impulses through willpower alone. The solution isn't restricting our children further in an already over-restricted world. The solution is preserving those safe spaces they still do have. Our concerns are backed by the professional analysis others have mentioned. Shive Hattery, the architecture and engineering firm that studied our neighborhood, specifically recommended against connecting Forever Green Road. They suggested a cul-de-sac or a similar treatment, citing both the existing terrain challenges and the very real possibility of cut-through traffic, like I mentioned. When professional engineers warn against a project due to safety and traffic concerns, shouldn't we listen? We're not asking you to halt progress or ignore traffic needs. We're asking you to recognize that some things, once lost, can never be recovered. Yes, that childhood freedom that exists on Kelsey Lane, that can't be restored, but also you can't bring back a life that's been taken because of those safety concerns. I'm asking you to choose our children. I'm asking you to choose safety. And I'm asking you to keep Kelsey Lane the rare treasure it is today, a dead-end street where childhood still thrives. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Kemp, 3201 12th Avenue. My wife and I, Michelle, actually own the remainder of the property that abuts this project in what would be eventually phase 2 of Kemp subdivision. We are against extending Kelsey Lane down to Forever Green Road. Truthfully, I don't even think we need a roundabout down there, or I'm sorry, not a roundabout, a cul-de-sac. There's 2 houses that extend on Kelsey Lane past Kelsey Court. So there's virtually maybe 4 cars that ever go past Kelsey Court. If somebody pulls in there and they need to turn around, most of the people that are doing that are school traffic, parents coming to pick up kids. They come into Michelle Lane, they turn around on Kelsey Lane, and sometimes even block that, and then they'll park along Michelle Lane waiting for their kids to come down. So with so few houses extending past Kelsey Court, there's really no reason to have any type of turnaround. The abutment is there. Potential use of that land that would be there without the extension of the road is, potential park, open space. That's basically what it's been for years. And as far as the engineering, traffic, fire, safety, those kinds of things, we understand as potential developers of phase 2 that there's only so many houses and dwellings that can be within one outlet. It needs another outlet. And the plan is eventually to take Michelle Lane on through to our neighbor's property, which would give that second outlet for fire, safety, and police patrol and everything. So again, we're against the extension. Take the money for that portion, give some more, stacking into the school. If the school district doesn't have the money to bring in lanes, I brought in a proposal that would actually alleviate traffic concerns out there, do away with turning into the junior high from 12th Avenue, do away with that in, make that an out only. That would eliminate the stacking. Go on down Forever Green Road past the roundabout, do a left turn and come in to the junior high. That will eliminate all the stacking. It gets a lot more parents in line, and you could use the money that is from existing Kelsey Lane to Forever Green Road, use it for that segment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right.
My name is Jacob Sexton. I just moved to 2167 Michelle Lane, so adjacent to Kelsey Lane. So being so new, being 2 months, moving into Coralville, it's been great. The community, walking outside and enjoying my kids, riding their bikes and playing with the other children. It's been great for me to see that, and I didn't think that community was going to be there. I thought my kids were going to be the youngest. Turns out there's other kids like mine that are outside every day trying to enjoy themselves. And when I first heard about the extension, I was all for it until I actually realized that I'm going to be living right there where that's going to be at. I'll take it. And finding out that they're going to connect the Kelsey Lane and make an easy shortcut through, it's not what I envisioned when I was here for 2 months, and now I have to come for the first time ever to a town hall meeting to discuss my pros and cons of both systems. But right now all I see is cons, because if you're going to build up that extension, that means less people are going to be driving through the other school district, the rest of the school district going north. I don't know where that road is, but when you're cutting through Forever Green to try to drive through all that traffic and all those stop signs and all the whatever, there's going to be, I don't know numbers, but 60% increase of drivers trying to cut through that spot. And if you have Kelsey Lane as an extension, they're going to cut through there too. Because instead of going straight to 380 or I-80, you're going to be cutting south, and then you're going to be cutting all the way through my house where my kids are playing. May not be in the morning, but my kids aren't walking to school, even though they're 2 blocks away now because of the traffic increase. I get to work early, there's not many people there, but when my kids are going to school later in the evening or later in the morning, it's just going to, all I see is issues, and my kids aren't even old enough to go to that school yet. But my kids are wanting to go to Van Allen, and that's where I live, that's why I stayed, that's why I chose the house that I was, because it was a dead-end road, and that's where the community was going to be. And it turns out that this project was going to extend that and terminate my American dream, if you will, of having my kids walk to school just like I did when I was their age. So right now I'm in between of pros and cons against it. For it, all I see now is cons. So having that extension is great for everybody trying to get to work, trying to cut out that roundabout, trying to get to school, but that school roundabout is going to be an issue, especially when it's only one lane. It's going to cut into other people's traffic. So I have other things to say, but I don't want to take too much time. But being a brand new resident of Coralville, I love the community. They're very welcoming to my family, and just to cut a small little traffic extension to get to the extension, I'm not for. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sam Wong. I'm a local pediatrician, and I live on 9 Kelsey Lane with 3 of my little kids. 2 of them are here. I just want to say, as someone who's trained in pediatrics and has seen the trauma of motor vehicle accidents and the impact that has on families, and not even speaking about the damage and the long-term morbidity on children, I just want to advocate on a neighborhood with over 20 little children under the age of 10 in a 2-block area where this extension would be built through. I would invite you just to sit in an afternoon during bus time or drop off or pickup at 4 p.m. at the junior high, and you can see the traffic, you can see the use of the neighborhood as an auxiliary parking lot, and what an extra throughway would cause. I think it is naive to believe it would not be used as such, particularly when the lines stack up and blocks traffic to access Greenway to get out into the main neighborhoods. 12th Street does become exceedingly jammed up and blocked at that 4 o'clock pickup time. And as a person who, again, has seen the traumas of motor vehicle accidents, I would strongly encourage you to reconsider and just to spend an afternoon with us in the neighborhood. And you can see what we see on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tara McGovern. I was last here on July 8th with a group of other Coralville residents sharing our concerns about the $19,000 that has been budgeted for flock surveillance here in Coralville. As many of us shared, unchecked surveillance data sharing is used disproportionately and wrongfully against immigrants, Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, unhoused people, people seeking reproductive and gender-affirming care, against anyone who has less access to power, but who still has every right to not only exist but also thrive. Since that meeting, we're still waiting for more information from the city as to what's happening with the surveillance cameras. But as an announcement, the ACLU of Iowa is going to be at the Coralville Public Library on Wednesday, August 20th, doing a community briefing and advocacy workshop on the city of Coralville's use of mass surveillance technologies. This event will focus on Iowans' privacy rights and civil liberties, the dangers of unchecked automatic license plate reader systems, and what you as residents can do to push for transparency and accountability for Coralville. So that's going to be Meeting Room B of the Coralville Public Library on Thursday, August 20th.
What time?
Sorry, Wednesday. Thank you, Justin. Wednesday, August 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the Coralville Library, Meeting Room B. Thank you. Actually, this is relevant not only in Coralville, but actually all across the country and the world. On August 6th, which was just a little less than a week ago, Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, who's the ranking member of the Oversight Subcommittee on Healthcare and Financial Services, along with Congressman Robert Garcia, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, launched a formal investigation into Flock Group Incorporated over its role in enabling invasive surveillance practices that threaten the privacy, safety, and civil liberties of women, immigrants, and other vulnerable Americans. The investigation follows alarming reports that Flock's the ALPR's automatic license plate readers, which are marketed as a public safety tool, have been exploited by law enforcement to track women across state lines, including into Illinois, following abortion care, and to conduct unauthorized immigration enforcement in jurisdictions with sanctuary protections. As Congressman Krishnamurthy says, and this is a quote, "Flock Group Incorporated cannot claim to protect public safety while enabling surveillance that undermines reproductive freedom and civil rights. When ALPR is used to undermine local public safety laws, it erodes trust and violates the very policies meant to protect our communities. This investigation is about ensuring Americans are not tracked, targeted, or prosecuted simply for exercising their rights." So this is one of many lawsuits that's currently in place. This is one that's being headed up by a couple of Illinois politicians. So I look forward to seeing anyone who is able to join us next Wednesday at the Coralville Public Library for ACLU of Iowa's workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to us this evening? I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Oh, yeah. Step on up.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Bill Erb. I live at 10 Kelsey Court, and I'm here about the proposed Forever Road extension. First thing I'm going to talk about is safety. You know, connecting Kelsey Lane to Forever Green Road extension will funnel, just like everybody else has said, a significant amount of traffic into our neighborhood. It was never designed for that volume, and it's going to pose a significant risk to all of our residents. You also understand once we change that traffic pattern, we can't correct that. Second thing is emergency access. The roundabout at 12th Avenue and Forever Green already experiences a major backup at peak times. Adding the extension will increase this problem. In emergencies, minutes matter. Fire engines, ambulance, police officers will be delayed, especially if they're stuck in the congested roundabout. This could be life-changing or threatening. As you're aware, the North Liberty Fire Department provides automatic aid to supplement our already limited staff Coralville Fire Department. With my background and strong commitment to public safety, I can't support something like this. Last thing I had was perhaps, and probably the most frustrating, is lack of communication from the city to the neighboring property owners. As a city, you should be modeling transparency and two-way communication to the citizens you represent. I'm not here to say no to the progress of this project. I'm just asking that you guys look at it make sure that it's well planned and that it balances safety, fiscal responsibility, and respects the lives that could be affected by this change. So at the end of this, I ask that when you look at this project that you prioritize safety, you have open communication with all of us, and you look at the fiscal responsibility of this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I live right on the border of Coralville and Iowa City. I am here to share, or to ask rather, that Coralville City take up a resolution to protect transgender and LGBTQ folks more broadly in the city. Johnson County just released just approved a resolution, and Iowa City is in the works, so we would love for Coralville to also do one. I'm going to provide a couple statistics and then also just some personal thoughts. So first and foremost, for me, it's extremely important. A lot of my friends and my partner are trans, and it's important that they feel safe and valued and heard by their communities, particularly when state and federal government do not show that they value them. I'm not originally from Iowa, but my partner is. He loves it here. He's really proud to be an Iowan. And then in the past year, we've had a lot of discussions about if he has to leave the state, if he has to flee the state. I know more than one person who is currently or planning to flee the state of Iowa due to recent legislation. There's a survey, there's a 2022 national trans survey throughout the U.S. About 50% of people across the United States said that they were considering fleeing their home state because their state legislators were considering anti-trans discriminatory laws. So the resolutions like the one passed in Johnson County, the one that will hopefully be passed in Iowa City, the one that I would like for you guys to pass here, is a step to show your LGBTQ residents that they are not just welcome, but valued and appreciated within your community, our community, and the community of Iowa broadly. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate all of the comments and everybody that spoke. All right. We will move on then to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing for the 12th Avenue Renewal Plan Amendment. And this amendment will add the Rec Center project and associated park improvements to the 12th Avenue Urban Renewal Plan. And the consultation for this was held on August 5th, 2025. So we will start with the consultation report.
Yes, I provided mailed and emailed notice of the consultation and this public hearing tonight to the Iowa City Community School District and Johnson County. And the consultation was scheduled for 10 a.m. on August 5th, and there were no participants that showed up at that time.
Okay. Thank you. All right. With that, I will open the public hearing on this item. Do we have anyone that would like to speak to us about this particular agenda item? Okay. Do we have any written comments? No written. Okay. Then I will close the public hearing and we will consider the resolution.
Resolution approving amendment number 12 to the 12th Avenue Urban Renewal Plan in the 12th Avenue Urban Renewal area. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Seconded by Nguyen. Do we have any questions or discussion on this item? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have another public hearing. This one is for 5th Street Place right-of-way vacation. And this disposal of 5th Street Place excess right-of-way is needed for the Jade Ridge Lot 1 development. So I'll open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us about this? Do we have any written comments?
No written.
Okay. I will close the public hearing, and then we will consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the vacation of excess 5th Street Place right-of-way. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions on this item or comments? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich. Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, 5th Street Villas. This is the second reading of this ordinance, and this would rezone and create a site plan for a 20-unit townhome development. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1011, and ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as 5th Street Villas from R2 two-family residential district to RPUD2 residential planned unit development 2 district. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Do we have any questions or comments on this from anyone? Okay. Could I have the roll call then, please?
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich. Knutson. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution or ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next up, we have Magnolia Meadows. This is the second reading of an ordinance, and this would be a rezoning and site plan for a 17-acre residential development. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1012, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Magnolia Meadows from CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District to RPUD Residential Planned Unit Development 2 District. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelzang. Any additional comments or questions on this one? Okay, roll call.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich. Knutson. Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next item, 404 2nd Street. This is the second reading of an ordinance, and this would rezone the site of the former McGrath car dealership. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1013, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as 404 2nd Street from I-2 Light Industrial District to C2 Arterial Commercial District. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Seconded by Wynn. Any questions, comments, discussion, or thoughts on this item? Okay, roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next item, local option sales and the service tax. Okay, so this is going to be one that I think we'll have a good discussion about this evening. So this will place the proposition for a local option sales tax on the November 4th, 2025 general city and school board election ballot. And let's read the resolution and then we can talk a little bit about what that ballot language is going to say. So could I have that resolution read, please?
Resolution relating to calling a special election of the proposal to impose a local option sales tax. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Seconded by Wynn. All right, so do we want to, Kelly, would you mind giving a little bit of background on this item? Because there's been a lot of discussion throughout the community.
Sure. This is an option that the council has to put a local option sales tax in the city of Coralville. There's been a lot of changes in the laws over the years, and so this would be the specific language for Coralville. It's North Liberty has already put approved ballot language for North Liberty. Presumably Iowa City will as well, but each community now has a separate vote for their community only. In the past, it was a combined vote, and it had to be a majority of adjacent communities. That was changed a few years ago by the Iowa legislature, so now it's by each individual community has their own vote. There is, for those cities that pass an election in a county, pass the local option sales tax in a county, there is a formula that dictates how that money is divided. So you don't necessarily get the same amount of money that is generated in your community. It's based on property tax values from the 1980s, and it's an average of those and population are the two criteria. So that's how that has changed over the years. And so this proposal would be to have a vote on November 4th for the local option sales tax in the city of Coralville.
Yeah, and I think it's good to get some clarification out for the public because there's a lot of really confusing parts to this. One of the things that could potentially be confusing is that while each community, Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty, we're all doing this, we're all talking about this, it's going to be on our ballots. Each city has different ballot language, and so each city will be voting on different things. So I think that's a really important thing for folks to know and to understand. The other thing is that a lot of folks have some concerns about the regressive nature of the local option sales tax, and that is a valid concern. However, there are some things that are not included for local option sales tax. So you don't pay it on clothing, you don't pay it on medicine.
You do pay it on clothing.
You do pay it on clothing?
Yes,
Okay.
it would be
Food?
medicines and food that you're purchasing at a grocery store, for example, are the two major exemptions. Cars have their own separate tax. That's a use tax, not a sales tax.
Okay. So
utilities is another one that you do not pay the lost on because we have a franchise fee, and so you can't have both. So you don't add a sales tax on top of that, a local option sales tax.
Yeah. And one of the ways that we've talked about acknowledging that is by making sure that some of the revenue from the sales tax does go to offset some of the higher cost of living, or some of the ways that that could be potentially a problem for folks. And so in Coralville's case, the area that we've chosen to focus on with the ballot language is affordable housing. So we think that that's one of the most important things that we can address with, to offset some of those issues. What else? There's a lot that I feel like people should know.
I think the big thing is the confusion about the different communities. You're not voting on what North Liberty or what Iowa City put on the ballot. That's each individual city has their own decisions and how that would be used. So that is, I think, an important distinction that you have made. It does have to pass by 50% of a vote, so 50% plus one, obviously. I think those are.
Yeah, the formula is a tricky.
Yeah.
That's getting a little bit into the weeds.
We will have all that information in an FAQ on the website, and we'll put that in our community newsletter as well, so that it's available for people. But yes, it is a very complicated formula, and that's provided by the state of Iowa.
You mean how it's
How
decided?
it's distributed.
Distributed,
Right.
how the funds are
dollars,
distributed.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, because Iowa City has, in their wording, his exact formula.
No,
We're
we're talking about.
We're talking about the formula that
Percentage.
the distribution
Okay,
formula.
yes, that's what I-
Yeah, not the
yes.
ballot language.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The distribution formula is very
Yep.
complex. The other piece of it is that it's the state law. By state law, 50% of it does have to go to property tax relief.
Right.
So that is something that is going to be on in all of the ballot language for all three municipalities. So we've had a lot of discussions about this, community-wide discussions, and I think that this is going to be really important given the challenges that we are facing at the state level with declining property tax revenues, that the legislature has passed several laws that do penalize growth and really limit the amount of property tax that municipalities can collect. So that's one of the reasons that we're looking, that all three communities are looking at this right now. Any other thoughts or comments? Does anybody else want to?
It just seems surprising to me that that formula is so antiquated from the 80s. I mean, our communities have changed so vastly in the last 45 years that they would look at that again, you know. I mean, geez, I've only lived here for 34 years, and this city is totally different than what it was then. So, but yes, I think this is a great opportunity to help us alleviate some costs on some of the things and help tax relief for our community. So,
And we mentioned affordable housing, and we also are including capital projects,
Yep.
which includes a new rec center, parks, trails, and other projects. I like how it says identified from time to time. That keeps us up to date.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of, like,
Yeah, that was specifically put in there so that it's not just the capital improvement plan that you approve today, because obviously in future years, you will change that, and that would be an option at that time.
I did have a community member ask about just the order in which the items were listed in the ballot language, and that does not indicate a hierarchy of what we're gonna use this for. That was just simply the way the language listed things out. I do have, is this the language that is included in the note here in the agenda, is that identical to what will be on the ballot? Or is that just, again, a listing of what is?
I haven't compared it exactly, but it's in the resolution. Section 2 is what would specifically be on the ballot.
Okay. What are some other thoughts or comments?
Well, the packet has 2 exhibits. And I'm looking at right now. I'm trying to figure out which one. They're very similar. Are they identical?
You have to, the way the law is written, the bond council did do this. You have one that's supposed to be a form of the ballot, and the other one is just the question that you're going to ask the voters, the proposition form. So A is the proposition form, and B is the form of the ballot, what it's going to look like on the ballot. And if I remember correctly, the auditor has to publish what the ballot is. They'll publish a exact copy of the ballot in the newspaper prior to the election. So that's why they're almost, you're right, they're almost identical, but one's the proposition form, which is the questions, and the second one's just the form of the ballot.
What else?
Kelly, if you don't mind, could you explain why now that we need a local option sale tax? Because this is not the first time that we see a reduction on our revenue. From what I learned, Iowa City and maybe one other city that I can think of that still do not have local option sale tax. And Coralville, obviously, we are a lot smaller than Iowa City, so we can't really compare that. But just to help the general public understand why now, and then also when we talk about property tax relief, maybe you can explain that a little bit more, because oftentimes when folks hear relief, that means that it's a reduction on their property tax. But that might not be the case. It might just stay the same. So if you don't mind explaining that, would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, some of the items that are on listed here for improvements from both the capital improvements project and specifically the Coralville, the Recreation Center project, are both items that have been at the top of multiple councils' goal setting for the last multiple years. And I think it was on the last 3, if I recall, goal setting sessions as the number 1 item for the councils, which it's different people, obviously, over those time periods. Really, if we are to be able to afford those items, the only way is to look at additional or new revenue. Or you could have a vote to raise the property tax. Those are really the only 2 options that we're left with at this particular time, is to do one of those 2 things. Other options have been either eliminated by the Iowa legislature or are no longer available to us for consideration. So I think that is really kind of the biggest item. And specifically in regards to your property tax relief, I think that's an important item that you brought up, because the property tax relief does not necessarily mean that your existing tax rate will go down. What it does mean is that it wouldn't go up by the amount of money that is available in that 50%. And so other communities in the state of Iowa have utilized that, and if you didn't have that amount of money available, then your property taxes would definitely go up. And so that's really, I think, the clarification there, and I think that's an important one, because you're right, a lot of times when you see property tax relief, you think of a deduction.
And just to clarify, our rec center is old. It's 30 years old, right, Sherry?
Oh, it's 50.
Okay, it's 50 some years old, and it is needing a lot of maintenance right now. And so right now, we're spending a lot of taxpayer money just to keep that place open, running efficiently. And it's just not a good way to invest in the community. And so, not that we like shiny things, but we like things that works for the community. And right now, our rec center is hanging on by a thread. We have the director of Park and Rec here, and she can attest to all of the issue that she had to creatively come up with solution that fit within the tiny budget that we have in order to keep the rec center open, because that is a community space. We know that a lot of our kids utilize that space for before school, after school. A lot of community members, especially senior, utilize that space, and so it is definitely the heart of the community. And we need to have a place where not only it's safe, but it's offer amenities so that every single needs within the community is accommodated. And so we can't do it without local option sale tax. And obviously, like the mayor said, it is a regressive tax. We are well aware of that. But right now, in this current time, we have to come up with creative way to continue to provide for the community. And this is our way of asking you all as voters to support us to be able to provide for you.
Yeah, and the rec center, I mean, when I think about that space, the thing that always comes into my mind are the kids that spend time there after school. And that's something that my own children have done, spent many, many hours hanging out at the rec center. It's a safe place for them to go. Whenever my son, when he was in junior high, I couldn't pick him up after school. That's where he would go, and he would play basketball with his friends. And there's just all kinds of kids, people, a broad cross-section of the community that really utilizes that space. And when you think about the space that we have now, you think about how much the community has grown and changed, I think we're long past due. And I think that it'll also open up a lot of opportunities for creative programming for youth, and again, creative program for the community as a whole. And it's been a long time coming. It really has. So I think that'll be exciting for an exciting development that we'll be able to do with this revenue. And again, the why. The why is why now? Because this has come up a lot over the years. This is not the first time we've talked about this. And we're one of the only areas in the state that does not have a local option sales tax. Even Lone Tree has is that correct?
Yes.
Lone Tree has it, University Heights has it.
Tiffin,
Solon. We're the only place that, one of the only places that does not have this. So it's one lever that we can pull as we're seeing declining revenues and a lot of the legislation that is coming out of the state that is really kind of making it very difficult for communities of all sizes to maintain operations. So this, I think, is going to be really important. Any other thoughts or comments from anybody?
Well, this isn't really about the wording, and I think that's what we're to be talking about, but it's obvious that we have the Coral Ridge Mall, the IRL areas that are wonderful for people to come and visit, and we have many, many visitors in our community, and that's where we can glean some of this sales tax money.
Yeah, that's one thing, we have so many people that come into this community for football games because of the university. And for years, we have been leaving a lot of that revenue on the table, or, just not taking advantage of the money that is brought into this community when people come to a basketball game, or when they come to a football game, or if they come to, again, shop in our mall. So, fingers crossed.
But we're not going to be able to tap into that revenue
Yeah.
if the community said no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anything
the
else?
power's in your hand.
Yeah. That's a good way to end it. Does anybody else have anything to say? Any other comments? Okay. All right, then. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. All right. Next item, we have bonds. And these are the bonds that would finance the rec center project. And the public hearing on this would be on August 26th, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution to fix the date for public hearing on general obligation urban renewal loan agreements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Any discussion on this item or questions? Anyone? All right. Roll call, please.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Kuhn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have Governor's Traffic Safety Contract. The FY 2025 Highway Safety Grant is for $15,900, and this will cover various items related to traffic safety enforcement and education programs. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving an agreement with the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau for State and Community Highway Safety Grant. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Any questions or discussion on this one? Chief, would you like to come up and talk a little bit about this? Because this is something that we've been doing for 25 years.
We've been doing it for a very long time, longer than I've been here with the department. The GTSP contract allows for officers to come in and work extra traffic enforcement. This year through the program, we're looking for some more equipment funds to look at some other things we can do with speed radar signs throughout the community, maybe around local schools and those types of things. Always allows for a new radar for a squad car and a PBT or a breathalyzer test for OWI enforcement. So a little bit more funding this year than we've seen in the past. And we, for the first year since I've been here, we used all of our funding this year. In the past, we've given money back to the state. So upped our funding a little bit for next year, and it was approved. So
Yeah, and so that was just for new equipment, correct?
new equipment as well as the
Yeah.
enforcement overtime as well.
Okay, and that is like like, is that what we're seeing when people are leaving the arena, when people are, or like that type of traffic safety, or is it for?
It's more for OWI enforcement, seatbelt enforcement, speed enforcement, and there's now a thing for texting and driving or, cell phone usage as well.
So traffic safety?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct,
And educational programming for that as well?
correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
I guess I'm a little surprised to hear we left money on the table. This doesn't seem like a lot of money. Was it $15,900?
Yep.
And that's an increase?
It is, yep. That's the enforcement part of it.
Enforcement part.
The
equipment's separate.
The equipment's separate from that.
So,
And it's
does that mean we haven't had the volunteers?
It's elective for our staff to come in and do. Correct.
And we haven't had them interested in
Well,
doing.
especially when we didn't
have.
have a full department, so people were having to work overtime or fill shifts anyway, and so filling extra was not as easy.
Was challenging.
Yeah.
When we were short-staffed.
Right.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
All right. Any other questions or comments about this? All right. Could I have the roll call, please?
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have the Coralville Youth Sports Project, Part 3. And this project will consist of 2 separate bid packages that will be let simultaneously. The first will include grading, civil improvements, and utilities, and the second one will include the completion of the ball diamond. And we have our Parks and Rec Director, Sherry Proud, here. Let's start with the first resolution.
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Coralville Youth Sports Project, Part 3, bid package number 1. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Seconded by Vogelzang. Okay, would you like to talk a little bit about this?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is at the Youth Sports Park, and this is important for us to get moving on because it moves the baseball diamond from St. Morrison Park to the Youth Sports Park where it's always been master planned to be, and then it would be out of the way of the new recreation center project that where the back wall actually kind of butts up right against where that diamond is, if everyone has that in their mind of where that's at. We're expecting an engineer's estimate on bid package 1 for $778,633. And the reason we're splitting these apart but bidding at the same time, our first bid that came back in May was high. And we want to make sure that we can look at both bids at the same time. But what we heard from the contractors on several things. One, that the civil is very different than the ball diamond build. And so there was a lot of markup on that second contract coming in to do the ball diamond build. And then the people who want to do the ball diamond build needed more time. They felt like we didn't give them enough time. So this extends out our contract. It wouldn't be done substantially complete until next September. It gives them lots of time to complete the project.
All right. Thank you for that overview. Does anyone have any questions for Sherry? Or any comments?
Since it's getting split, the first part obviously has to be completed before they can do the second.
Mhm.
So have you thought of, so the timing of the first part would be early spring then?
We will try to have, if everything goes as planned, we'll have contracts and turn that site over to them in October. They'll get started on earth moving in October. And then the second package would be in mid to late April.
Mid to late April. So the first part of it would be done mid to late April. Presumably, there's not a lot of overlap in these two parts. Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And could we get the second resolution, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Coralville Youth Sports Project, Part 3, bid package number 2. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich.
This bid package is for the completion of a 350-foot baseball diamond. It will have 70-foot bases, 80-foot bases, and 90-foot bases. It also includes the dugouts, the walkways, all of the amenities related to that diamond. And that bid package expectation is, for the engineer's estimate, is $825,904 for that base bid. We did pull the 250-foot diamond out. We were really hoping we might get that into budget, and we still will see that price as an alternate, as well as a double batting tunnel, which will be in the alternates, and we still hope to get that in, as well as we'll be kicking off, once we know pricing, we'll be kicking off a fundraising campaign. I think you've heard me mention before that we had 83 different teams show up for field time at the Youth Sports Park at our diamond, I guess, lottery draw, or however you want to word that, last February. And so we really think there's some potential for them to help us out with this project.
What's the diamond? What was the?
You show up to put your name in for your team to get field time, and we draw, and then you get to go up and put yourself down for a field and a time, and then it goes around to the next team. So yeah, if you can imagine, 83 times around, and then you get back to field number 1, time number 1.
All right. What are some thoughts on this one?
So I assume bid package one includes the grading for that extra field.
It does. Civil, yep, all the
So
civil
that's
work.
going to get done no matter what, we hope. Whether we have the funds to build that second field is what, that's the alternate.
Right.
That we can drop if the bids aren't to our satisfaction.
We would add it. It's not a part of the package until you
Okay.
add it in as an alternate.
But you are correct, the grading part is included no matter what.
It has to include
Yeah.
both, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of grading. There's some grading that was done with the original package for both the baseball diamond and the diamond, the other diamonds, so, yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments on this agenda item?
You had mentioned something about fundraising for that. You guys are currently working on ideas for that?
We won't
or-
launch that until we know if we're going forward with it.
Gotcha, okay.
And then we'll launch.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
All right.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next up, we have our Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank project. And this would approve a one-year monitoring services agreement for this project. And this is needed for reporting to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving a one-year monitoring services agreement with Eocene Environmental Group, Inc. for the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank monitoring and reporting for year one. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Any questions or comments on this item? The project is well underway. You want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
how
I was
that's
just
going?
out there yesterday, and it's really looking good. We're starting to get our first mows done, and really getting a look at what vegetation's coming up underneath with our native vegetation. We've had some mighty rains, and the stream banks are holding, and all of the toewood and all of the practices are holding really well. So we're excited about seeing that. This contract gets our baseline report to the Army Corps of Engineers and our annual report for 2025. So it actually kind of finishes this summer and into December, and then we'll look at an annual monitoring contract after that. We really needed a company that could do, understands those vegetation requirements as well as taps into the engineering inspections. And in a subsequent package we did earlier this spring, we put in those monitoring points. So we have 20 different places where for the next 10 years, companies or staff will go out and we'll look at that and we'll attest that this is working right in the way that it needs to be working.
Awesome. This is I think this is just such a cool project. I mean, and especially when you see, it's amazing what, when you go out there and you see how they've managed to really kind of reshape that whole creek.
Yeah. 570, I believe, is the number, linear feet that's been added to in sinuosity, which is a big deal because you want that creek to slow down and you want it to have room to spread out and really go out of its banks. It's okay if it goes out of its banks. And it used to be it would go out of its banks and it would be devastating. And now it has room with those riparian steps to flow up. And it's got the vegetation there to hold it. The trees are now back away from that flow and will grow and not be fall into the stream and then continue on downstream and run into things that we don't want them to run into. So very excited. We will present this project nationally twice here in the next coming month. Starting Monday, on Monday we'll be in Chicago and we'll present it to the National Association of Public Works. And then again in September at the National Recreation and Park Association. So we're excited to share it.
My daughter's a kind of a water engineer, so I've been very interested and enthusiastic about this project as well. I think I recall a conversation where it's designed to flood at least twice a year, so it goes up and over the banks and into those areas. And I'm just curious, with all the rain we've had, I wouldn't say we've had a really hard rain at any time throughout the summer, but we've had a lot of rain. Do we know if that's happened
Yep,
this
we've
year
had-
at all?
We've had a bankful event. I did not go out at
What'd you
3
call that?
a.m.
A
on
bank-
Sunday
a bank
morning.
what?
A bankful event.
Bankful
We had
event.
a bankful event back in, I'd have to look the date up. I'm trying to remember if that was late June or early July, but we have had that. And I am thinking that it probably was out of its banks based on Sunday morning, early, based on the amount of water that's still standing in the oxbows and in the all of the different practices that are off to the sides.
Yeah, so it might have been twice already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get very good pictures going out at 3 a.m., but I have a good raincoat and good boots, and we'll be getting some pictures of it when it's during daylight hours.
And you planted some new, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I bike past that, and usually at least once a week, sometimes a couple times, and it seems like those oxbows, those little offshoots, have had water in them a good chunk of the summer.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, I assume, what's
We
supposed to be
want them to do,
happening.
and we want them to filtrate that water down through and hold it here in Coralville, so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
How many trees have you planted
Oh, God.
out there?
I think it's 1,560, if I remember my reports correctly, and all the adds up. And I think there's 27 different varieties of trees, so.
And that's
looking
just in
forward
that
to-
one?
Reach 1, Reach 3, and Becky's Creek.
Okay.
That's adding all of those together.
That's amazing. Any other thoughts? You should, I would really encourage folks to check it out, because it's a really, that was it's been a very impressive project, and really good for, environmental purposes. A lot of habitat that's been, I think, able to thrive there now.
The J-hooks and the rock riffle pools that have been put in have been very, very good for fish habitat, and we're really excited about that oxygenation that's really happening to the stream. And it's just fun to go out there and just spend some time watching all the different butterflies, bees, frogs, everything on land as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that overview. Do we have any other questions or comments?
I do have a question. I know it's still summer, but during the winter, when it snows, will that trail get plowed?
No. The Clear Creek Trail does not get plowed.
Okay.
It is part of the winter sports, winter recreation. It has cross-country skiing along one side, and it's groomed for snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat tire riding.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the ones that it's groomed for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
On the business end, have we had any inquiries about credits, selling any more credits?
Yes. Waiting to hear back from an engineering firm on about 2,700 credits. And I've been in touch with the Iowa DOT, and they are looking at their next project is in that early permitting phase, so it's not approved yet, and they think late 2025, early 2026. They can't share what kind of credits they're after with at that time to purchase, but it's encouraging that they've got some in permitting phases.
Cool. All righty. Can I have the roll call, please?
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelzang?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich?
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. All right, next item, we have our active registration system agreement. This is a 3-year agreement, and this would be for the registration software used by the city to manage registration, membership, and point-of-sale transactions. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving a 3-year product and services agreement with Active Network LLC for their registration system. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. All right. Amy, do you have some information to share with us about the active registration system?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So we have been with Active for close to 15 years, and the Active Network we use as our both registration, reservation, membership, and point of sale transactions within our department. So it's used for several different things, even for memberships when our patrons are purchasing a pool pass or exercise room pass, or just providing our free rec pass to come in, and students or community members come in and scan their pass, and then we know who's in the facility for emergency purposes. So with that said, and all that we use Active for, come a lot of fees, and they continue to grow as I think you probably have seen in other circumstances where we're all seeing credit card charges and so forth. And so we tend to negotiate every few years of where we're at and trying to keep those costs down. We don't ever charge back to our patrons what it is to pay with a credit card versus another form of payment. So something was introduced to us considering a contract at $45,000 in annual fees, and then with that comes a reduced cost in electronic check presentation. So basically paying, we only use that for our before and after school programs and summer camps, and then as well as our credit card fees. So although we are asking for approval for this agreement for 3 years, our potential savings based on what our revenue was at last year and what the fees were with the registrations would be about a $14,931 savings. So our hope is that this would be considered to enter into this agreement in order to keep our fees down with using Active.
All right. Thank you for that overview. Does anybody have any questions for Amy?
You said we've been using it for 15 years?
Quite some time, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the exact year that we started.
But just now, we're going to start saving because we...
No, we negotiate.
Sorry, my brain just
no, that's
doesn't-
okay. This is the first time we've actually gone into contract with them for a certain amount of time, and it's an annual fee versus right now, it's all transactional.
Yep.
And so fees will then increase, and we'll have to go in and discuss, okay, they'll look at what type of business or revenue we're bringing in, and then we'll negotiate what those fees are going to be. So it's kind of a constant discussion back and forth. And we have really seen those fees increase to the point that we're figuring out how to budget in each of our budget lines. And so when I reached out to them this year saying we really have to look at how can we reduce these costs, this was something that was presented to us. So we ran the numbers within our department, and then we also went to our finance department and said, is of what we're seeing. So we were going off of FY24, and then prior to us presenting this to council, we did go in and we were able to finish up what the cost would be in FY25. So we're looking at about 14. So if the cost would be more, that would be showing us that our revenue is up too. That means that we're having more registrations and more fees collected.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's very helpful.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Nguyen.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. This grant was awarded by MPO-JC to support the creation of a Safe Streets and Roads for All action plan. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving the local match for the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Do we have any questions about this item?
Will this grant cover research into the safety of Kelsey Lane?
What would this cover?
Would it cover things like that?
So this SS4A grant program was part of or created with the bipartisan infrastructure law back in 2021, I believe. And then Iowa implemented the SS4A program in 2022. And so to date, I think 97 counties in total have applied to a similar grant application as our MPOJC area. And it's taking initially a holistic look at the entire MPO area, gathering every possible data source and looking at accident data, traffic volumes, anything that could be utilized to kind of produce this action plan. During the review process and interview process with the various consultants that submitted proposals, it was made clear that we are quite fortunate in Johnson County that our data when it comes to both serious injuries and fatalities is actually quite low. I mean, we're all aware of a few fatalities here over the past several years, but in comparison to other similar metro areas, we're doing okay. And so, but on the other hand, there's part of the goal of this action plan is to really find out maybe things we're not aware of yet. And it's not specific to Coralville, it's the entire MPO JC area. Specific to Kelsey Lane.
Probably doesn't look at future. It probably just looks in the past.
It will consider the arterial streets plan, which does include future road corridors.
Okay.
Whether the action plan dives down into an individual street segment, I'm not sure if that's the goal of the action plan. So,
but it might look at the whole forever green connection type of thing.
And again, it'll be pulling data too. It'll be looking at traffic and accident data on all different corridors. And it's also looking at bicycles and pedestrians too. It's not just vehicular, it's that whole interaction that will be looked at.
Good.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions?
Well, we were in attendance when they spoke about this at the MPOJC, and what I picked up on it was they do look at hotspots, right? So like, they'll look at hotspots and what they can do to better that area. And I think they did look at some of the places like out in North Liberty and Tiff and Coralville juncture there, like Quick Star, I guess. I think they focused on that area a little bit, in the presentation they gave us at the last meeting. But,
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts? Okay, could I have a roll call, please?
Brown.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. All right, next up, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Madam Mayor, I would like to ask Council to consider motion to approve the consent calendar as presented A to U.
Moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson.
aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. All right, City Administrator's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd just like to thank and congratulate all the people that participated and volunteered for the Fifth Street Social last Saturday night. There was well over 3,000 people participated in that event, and it was just a fun night to see lots and lots of people from around the community. And I was working in one particular spot volunteering, and several new residents came up and talked about how they were new to the community and that this was a great way for them to meet people, and so they really enjoyed that. So that was very, very nice. The Fifth Street project right outside City Hall, this phase, they will be doing the through line paving on Thursday of this week, so they are doing a great job of keeping that project moving forward. The contractor's doing an excellent job. One of the things that hopefully we'll be able to do relatively quickly in the next few weeks is connect 7th Street out here so that through movement can occur again, and then we can have the buses back on that schedule as well. So that should be coming up, and hopefully we'll, at the beginning of the work session, get to show you some of the things. We don't often have a project that close, and so the city engineer can show you a couple things about that project. And then finally, would just like to thank and congratulate the sheriff for continuing to work on the funding for our mental health law enforcement liaison. That's something that we've had, I think it's 2 years now. And originally this was grant funded by the state of Iowa through their mental health groups, and that funding went away when it was being reorganized, and the sheriff continued to pursue that. And the new funding organization for that did decide, it's now called the Iowa PCA, Iowa Primary Care Association, is the one that distributes that mental health funding. And they did include this position in that. And so our city of North Liberty, Coralville, and the county's portion of that will now go down, because it will be 75% grant funded by the state, and that amounts to almost $96,000. So I just congratulate the sheriff for continuing to work on that over just with all of the changes that has occurred. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mayor's report, I just want to echo what Kelly said about the funding for that position. I actually spoke with Sheriff Kunkel. He called to give me that news earlier today, and I'm so glad that, I was really worried when I knew that the funding had initially gone away. So I'm really pleased that we've been able to continue that, because it is so important. And I really hope that we can find a way to grow that. And I would love to see more of those positions here in the city of Coralville for sure. So I want to talk about a couple of the things that came up during public comment this evening, and I don't know that we have any of the neighbors here still, but that we're talking about Kelsey Lane. But I have been staying on top of those messages and had a conversation with our engineer this afternoon, and we talked about having a community meeting to discuss the concerns of those residents. So that is in the works. I also wanted to talk about the flock cameras and what has been happening since the July 8th meeting. So I have been using the time to do some additional research. I had a lengthy conversation with the ACLU. They gave me a lot of really good information, a lot of really good suggestions. I really appreciated that they actually got back to me for that. In addition to that, the chief has been working on some things as well. Has also reached out to the ACLU, but you said you had not heard back from them yet. Correct. But you have reached out, and I'm going to work on getting them connected with the contact that I have at the ACLU. Also, Chief spoke with the deputy chief in Austin. So spoke with deputy chief in Austin about their experience, and just been doing a lot of research, information gathering, just to learn a little bit more about the company and about how other communities have approached this. And Chief and Kelly and I met before the meeting tonight, and we do have a draft policy that we can look at to consider for the, if we do, I want to bring it to the agenda, I want to have a discussion about it so that we can look at it and make sure that we are moving forward, or if we choose to move forward, we do have that policy in place. So we talked about, because this is what I have is a draft, we'll either have that on I would say probably the first meeting in September, just to give some time to get that, make sure that we have that where we want it before we bring it to the council. Maybe at the second meeting in August, but I doubt it. So, and I will share that draft for anybody that is interested in taking a look at it. And that is all I have this evening. City Attorney's report.
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Committee and council members report. Let's start down at this end with Mike.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I just want to thank you for working on those two very important issues, and I would love to see a draft if we get to that point, and that's all I have.
Okay. Rich?
Yeah, I too would like to take a look at that draft. A lot of the comments, excuse me, a lot of the comments that we've received, in my opinion, have been an emotional input. And I prefer to rely on facts than logic. Yes, there's emotion in everything, but there's a lot of benefit to these cameras that you know, you can rely on. I've got, let me say this. I've got a nephew who's the sheriff of a county in Illinois, and he's shared with me that those cameras have been very instrumental, and he's been in law enforcement for close to 30 years. They just recently were very instrumental in solving and convicting a fatality hit and run. That would not have happened without the benefit of these cameras. He also shared with me the several incidents where elderly individuals with dementia have driven off and have been able to be found and returned. And he's also shared a couple of instances where babysitters and individuals have taken children, kidnapped children, and been gone. There's a lot of those types of factual, logical things that, in my opinion, override a lot of the emotions that I think we've been hearing. And so I'm very interested in hearing and seeing whatever draft and see what happens.
Anything else?
I can go on.
No, I mean like any other, yeah.
No.
We'll continue
That's
this
all.
discussion
Yeah,
when we
will.
we will continue that discussion.
Yes, we will.
for sure.
Time.
We will.
Yeah. Hi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of things. Summer is getting to the end, so the place where I work, the food pantry, is continue to serve summer lunch to kids who oftentimes don't get to eat when school is out. So we are serving the next 2 weeks. The third week will be when school starts. So I invite everybody to come and eat with us. The next 2 weeks, we will be there Tuesday to Friday, serving lunch from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. You don't have to be a Coralville resident, just come and eat with us. You want to come eat, we open our door and welcome you in. We also look for volunteers who help us serve lunch, and so if you got a little bit of time on your hand during that time, go up on our website and sign up and you know, just interact with the community members and kids when they come for lunch. August 20th, which is a Wednesday, next week. Oh my God, is it next week already?
Yeah, it is.
Next week, next Wednesday is the final Healthy Kids Iowa distribution. This is the program that is it was in place to replace the summer EBT, which means that summer EBT is a dollar amount per kid that they get in the summer to nourish themselves. But since our state, our governor opted out. This is the replacement of it. It's called Healthy Kids Iowa. You can go read more about it. We had a distribution in Coralville in June. The one in July took place in Iowa City. And the final one will be in North Liberty. There are flyer and information are out everywhere, so please look for that. It's going to be from, I don't have the time correct, so I don't want to say the wrong time, but it's going to be almost all-day distribution. We are aiming for 1,600 kids. The last distribution, we were aiming for 1,100, and we ran out well before the closing time. So we're hoping to not run out of food this time. And we're always looking for volunteers. So if you have time, go to United Way website, and then you can sign up to help us distribute food. Anybody that have school-age kid can come and get the food. There is no limitation. And this is a county-wide. And so any way that you live in Johnson County, you can come and get food. And you can get food for your neighbor, you can get food for someone else if they work during the time of distribution. So that's just one thing that you can pick up food for someone else. Apparently proxy is allowed, so if you want to say your name is Mickey Mouse, we'll get food to you. There's no question asked. So Wednesday, August 20th. Regarding the camera, the flock camera, when it was first presented to council, it seemed to be a pretty good idea. The thing is, as council, we are not expert in a lot of these things, really in all of the thing that usually brought in front of us. We rely on staff to educate us, to answer our question, and we are trying to be the bridge between community member and staff, and really try to make the decision that best serve the majority of our community. There is no way on earth that we will make everybody there's no way on earth that we can make 100% of our community member happy, sorry. But if we can make 98% of our community member happy and safe, I'll take that. And so the decision that we make here are never taken lightly. We do our homework and we do consult with staff, but sometimes we just don't have the time. You have to remember that this is a volunteer position for us. We all have a full-time job to put food on the table. And so we do this because we want to serve our community. And we rely on our community and we rely on staff in order to do our job well. So thank you for bringing to our attention that this might not be a good idea. This is how you all keep us accountable. This is how you help educate us to get more information on the issue that we have the power to make that affected your life directly. And after that first meeting, we have a lot of community members reach out to us. And obviously, as a person, each of us have our own opinion when it comes to any of that. But at least for me, I cannot speak for my colleague, when I sit here representing my community, I have to be able to remove that personal opinion. I am not here serving myself. I'm here to serve the community as a whole. What would be best for the community? I have to be neutral. And that is what I'm trying to do. So speaking to the mayor, speaking to folks who have experience with no camera before, speaking to everyday resident who might be vulnerable to those cameras, I realized that, yes, there is benefit in solving crimes and, saving folks and stuff. What is the disadvantage? What are we giving up to gain this? Is there a way that we can do both without violating the privacy of our resident who is in a vulnerable situation that could lead to self-harm? So I would like for us to take more time, really look at everything, and consider whether we should have no camera in our community. Get more data, maybe more input from the community, maybe talk to adjacent community who really have those cameras and see, what's the pro and what's the con. It's really the pro, it's outweigh the con. As a minority, I do have concern for those cameras because I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's going to be the subject of someone else's prejudice, right? I don't have control over that. So speaking from that point of view, I am fully share the concern of the people who feel like their privacy may be in violation if we have these cameras. I just accompany an immigrant that has been here in the U.S. for 6 months and here in Iowa for 3 months. He's a kid. He just turned 18 years old in border prison. And he turned 18 and they just kick him out. Good luck. He had no family here. He can't speak the language. And he had to show up for ICE checkup. And there is no one to advocate for him. And so the Akucha Mizvos, they didn't contact me. They was frantically trying to find somebody who can do interpretation, and they couldn't find anybody. And so they reached out to the Vietnamese Student Association at the University of Iowa just to ask if they have any lead. And the kid there, some of the kids speak Vietnamese. My daughter happened to be an officer in that organization this year. Yes, she speaks Vietnamese, she writes Vietnamese, but there's no way that she can interpret, to a level of a proficient that could help somebody in that situation. So she reached out to me, and this happened this morning. This was like last night when I got the text that, Mom, can you please help this person? And so I was on the phone trying to talk to the person at Akucha Mizvos just to find out a bit more information about this person. And they have never met him either. They have no idea what his story is. They just know that they just need to help him find a translator. So this morning at 7 o'clock, I drove up to Cedar Rapids, went to Immigration and Custom Agency, and I was the first one there. So, having lived here for 30-some years, a naturalized U.S. citizen, but yet when I'm there, I felt so vulnerable. I felt like at any moment, anybody can come out and take me away, and nobody would know because just how I look, because they don't like how I look. They don't care whether I have contributed to the community, whether I have lived here, whether I have a family. They don't care. They just look at me. So I felt very vulnerable. I locked my car door. So I fully understand the fear of being surveilled without your consent. I understand that, and I do not ever want anybody to be in that situation, ever. And to be honest, if it's not life and death, nobody will choose to leave their home. No one. No one will risk their life to seek opportunity elsewhere. No one, I promise you, no one. So I'm asking you as community member to have compassion, to check on your neighbor, to really think about the action that you took in the community and protect the most marginalized, vulnerable neighbor that do not have a voice. I am one of them, sitting right here in front of you. So I'm asking you to do the same for people who don't have the voice, for people who cannot speak, for people who don't understand the system, for people who are being exploited. So please, please, just think about, all of the things that we bring up when we make decisions that is affecting everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, my gosh, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I'm so glad that you shared that. Hi. Thank you.
And he came from Cedar Falls. He took an Uber, and he had to pay $80 to come here, to come to Cedar Rapids. And his court date is in Omaha. And he's a kid. He's like the age of my second son. And I just think, you will not understand unless you walk in someone's shoe. So don't be so quick to judge.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. We're so glad that we have you in our community.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, do not be sorry. Do not be sorry about that. Oh, do not be sorry. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You've been through a
Yeah.
lot. You have been
Good.
through so much, and you've got so much with your job.
What do we need? Yeah, you're gonna.
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. Thank you.
And this is me.
I know.
I'm not going to hide who I am.
No, my gosh, we need more people to do that. And I've cried up here myself, you've seen me. Yeah. All right. We'll talk more about that, the cameras, at the next meeting, okay, or another meeting.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Thank you for your, thank you, Hi, for sharing that, seriously. I mean, you are absolutely correct. Nobody knows until they live it, right? So thank you for your passion and your commitment to everyone in the community. So I was going to say, kind of ditto on some of the things you said earlier as far as looking at everything from a 10,000-foot view and trying to make educated decisions from both our staff and our community. And I thank this community for bringing things to us and letting us try to make somewhat educated decisions on our decision. And again, I don't even know what to say after. But thank you again for all your help. Places like Escucha Mi Voz is a very good advocate for the immigrant community. We need more of those type of places in these times. But I was going to also say I regret not being able to hit National Night Out because I'm involved in another organization here, Foundation for the Trades. We're doing a fundraiser. We give money to schools for industrial arts programs. We just get our grant program. We gave out $11,000. We raised $82,000 last week at a fundraiser, and that was where I was at the night before So I apologize to the neighborhoods that I wanted to get out to see, and especially the neighborhood out at Kelsey Lane, to try to see what's going on out there. But I will make some time and an effort to get out there. And again, you know, I can't reiterate how important it is, and thanking this community for coming and bringing us information that so we can look at everything from a 10,000 point view and make decisions. So thank you, and whatever you need, any help you need, please let me know. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that this is happening, and I appreciate so much that you're vulnerable and letting us know. And as you were talking about caring for each other, it made me think of the National Night Out, which Mayor Foster and Councilman Mike and I went to a number of different neighborhoods. And to me, that's just so encouraging that neighbors are reaching out to neighbors and bringing people together of all nationalities, of all different backgrounds and everything. And we really had a good time of being able to talk with people too about what their concerns are, what their interests are, how their neighborhood is going, and so on. And I think that's a really helpful thing in Coralville. Thank you so much to the police station and the firemen who also participate in that. And the rec center, Sherry and Amy were out too, and we just got to see so many people from Coralville. And the Fifth Street Social does that too, brings us together, and really appreciate that. One more thing is that the Friends of the Library had another, it's not a book sale anymore, you give a donation, so it's free secondhand books that you can get at the library on 4 different times during the year, and they just had one of their Friday, Saturdays, and they raised nearly $7,000 in donations. And then that goes back into the community through books and caring for our little ones. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I forgot to say one thing.
Okay.
I do want to go help as a proxy. Can I come as Cookie Monster to your food thing?
Please do.
I won't be Mickey Mouse. I'd just rather be Cookie Monster.
All right. Okay, well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to an executive session.
Oh, did Cookie Monster become the
By
broccoli
Quinn,
monster?
could I get a second? Second by Knudsen. We'll do a roll call.
They changed it from
Knudsen.
Aye.
Vogelzang. Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
All right, we'll be back.